Hello friends, welcome to the Anatomy Hub. And today we will study about the paranasal sinuses. So already if you have covered the lateral wall of nose, then this paranasal sinuses will be the uh, better way to understand about the sinuses. So the paranasal sinuses they develop is the outgrowth from the nasal cavities and erode into the surrounding bones, and all are lined by the respiratory mucosa, which is actually ciliated and mucus secreting uh, epithelium that open into the nasal cavities, and they are innervated by branches of the trigeminal nerve, mainly the fifth cranial nerve. So they are actually bilateral paired frontal sinuses, the maxillary sinuses, the ethmoidal sinuses in yellow, and the sphenoidal sinuses. So these sinuses are absent or rudimentary during the birth. So the purpose of the sinuses mainly they helps in resonating the voice, decrease the weight of the skull, and warm and moisten the air, and they are the shock observers, and also they helps to increase the immune system. So at the lateral side, you can see how the sinuses are arranged. So here you'll see the frontal sinus at the frontal bone. Here you'll find the maxillary sinus inside the body of the maxilla, and here you'll find the ethmoidal air sinus that actually has the three parts. Here you'll find the anterior part, the middle part, and the posterior part, and just posterior to that here you will find the sphenoidal air sinuses. So it is actually aerated at birth, uh, that is the maxillary sinus, and at the age of 6 to 7 years there is a formation of your frontal and the sphenoidal sinus, and during the puberty time, approximately 17 to 18 years, the ethmoidal sinus develops. So here first we will see the maxillary sinus. So the maxillary sinus they are actually paired in number, and they present at the body of the maxilla that you can observe, and they are actually pyramidal in shape. So they have the base and the apex and the roof and floor, and the relations of this maxillary sinus is actually the superior lateral surface that you can see here, that is related above to the orbit, and anterolateral surface that is actually related to the roof of the upper molar tooth, mm, and in front to the face, and the posterior wall is it is related behind to the infratemporal fossa. So the conical elevations that is present here at the roots of the molar teeth. So the height of the sinus is near about 3.5 cm, and the breadth is 2.5 cm to 3 cm, and the diameter of the sinus is about 3.2 cm, and it opens to the hiatus semilunaris that is present at the lateral wall of the nose. The blood vessels they are actually supplied to this maxillary sinus are mainly the facial artery, the greater palatine artery, the infraorbital artery, and along with that the associated veins will be drained from this maxillary sinus. So the lymphatic drainage of the sinus, that is actually drained to the submandibular nodes, and the nerve supply to the sinus will be the infraorbital nerve and anterior, middle and posterior superior alveolar nerve, that is a branch of your maxillary nerve. Then we will see the frontal sinus. So as you can see here, the frontal sinus, that is posterior to the superciliary arch, and it is very much prominent in male, and they are rarely symmetrical, always it is asymmetrical, and the length of this sinus is about 3.2 cm, the breadth is 2.6 cm, and the height is 1.8 cm. So it is also the incomplete septa or the recess that actually divides this frontal sinus into two, and it opens to the ethmoidal infundibulum or the frontonasal duct. And the arterial supply of this sinus is your supraorbital artery and the anterior ethmoidal artery, and the frontal sinus, it will drain into the middle nasal meatus. Then we will see the sphenoid sinus. So the sphenoidal sinus, they are also paired in number, that you can compare laterally where it is present. So it is just below to the body of the sphenoid, below to the sella turcica, inside the body of the sphenoid bone, and above it is related to the cranial cavity, that you can observe here, and particularly to the pituitary gland and to the optic chiasma, and laterally it is related to the cranial cavity and particularly towards the cavernous sinuses, and below and in front it is actually related to the nasal cavity, that you can observe here in the frontal view. So its height is about 2 cm and the breadth is about 1.8 cm and the diameter is 2.1 cm. And this sinus, it opens to the sphenoethmoidal recess. And the arterial supply will be the posterior ethmoidal artery, and the lymphatic drainage will be the retropharyngeal nodes. And the nerve supply to this sphenoid sinus will be the posterior ethmoidal nerves and the orbital branch. Then here you will see the ethmoid sinus. So the ethmoidal sinus, it is actually thin walled cavities in your ethmoidal bone, and mainly the ethmoidal labyrinth. Three large to 18 small sinuses, they unite together to form this ethmoidal sinus. So its location is at the upper nasal cavity, that you can observe, and the orbit, and the anterior groove, mainly the infundibular part, that you can observe over here, that is 11 in number and open at the infundibulum, and the middle group, which is known as the bular sinuses, that usually 3 in number and open on the above of the ethmoidal bulla, and the posterior group, that is 1 to 7 in number and open in superior meatus of the nasal cavity. And this sinus, it is supplied by the sphenopalatine artery, anterior ethmoidal artery and the posterior ethmoidal artery. And the lymphatic drainage of the sinus will be the anterior middle group of the submandibular nodes, and posterior group of the retropharyngeal nodes. And the nerve supply will be the anterior ethmoidal nerve, posterior ethmoidal nerve, orbital branch of the pterygopalatine ganglion. So here you can see the osteomeatal complex, how in coronal section how the sinuses they communicate towards the nasal cavity. So here you can see so this is the bony cavity of the maxilla, and here you'll find this is the maxillary sinus, and this maxillary sinus that it is here you'll find this is the lateral wall of the nose. So through the middle meatus at the bulla ethmoidalis, it is just opens to this nasal cavity. And the ethmoidal sinus also it opens to the lateral wall of the nose, that you can observe here. And the pathways of the communication between the frontal sinus, the ethmoidal sinus and the maxillary sinus, all they open to this nasal cavities. So the key passages are the infundibulum and the middle nasal meatus. So here you will find the middle nasal meatus, and at this point you will find the infundibulum. So here you can see how this maxillary sinus it is connected to the nasal cavity, and how the frontal sinus it is connected to the nasal cavity. So this will give you a clear picture how they are interconnected to each other. So the pathologic condition that we will find inside the paranasal sinuses, mainly the sinusitis. So the inflammation of the sinus will be there. So mainly a condition that the cavity around the nasal passages they will become inflamed, and the acute sinusitis that can be triggered by a cold or the allergies and may resolve on its own. But the chronic sinusitis that lasts up to 8 weeks and may be caused by an infection or any growths inside the cavities. Like that you will find the secondary osteomyelitis. So in adults the osteomyelitis is actually usually a subacute or chronic infection that develops the secondary to an open injury to the bone and the surrounding soft tissues. So the specific organism that isolated in bacterial osteomyelitis that is often associated with the age of the patient or a common clinical scenario, that is maybe the trauma or maybe the recent surgery. So the common cause of the osteomyelitis that include the bacteria in the bloodstream from the infectious disease that spread to the bone, and an open wound from a trauma over a bone, and recent surgery or injection in or around the bone, and the most common type of bacteria that cause osteomyelitis are mainly the staphylococcus and the pseudomonas and the enterobacteriaceae. Like that you will find another condition, that condition is the sinus polyps. So the sinus polyps, that is actually a painless benign growth on the lining of the nose or at the sinuses, which causes the chronic inflammation due to the infection, allergies and drug sensitivity or the immuno disorders. And that symptoms may include a runny nose, a stuffiness or the post-nasal drip, and in some cases there may be no symptoms. Like that you will find the trauma to the nasal cavity directly or indirectly, and that will also cause the inflammation of the paranasal sinuses. So all this you can observe here in the X-ray view. So this is your lateral view of the skull, and here you can see the maxillary sinus, and you can compare the sinus with the X-ray. Now here you can see it is clearly the sinus is present over here, and which is black in color. So it is not so black, so that here it indicates that here the presence of the air. But if you'll find only the sinus that is filled with the fluid, then it will become very dark, and the dark patch will be visible over here. That will indicate that there is some infection or inflammation that collects the mucous fluid inside the sinus. So here if you do the lateral radiograph, means the X-ray, then you can see the all four sinuses. That you can see the frontal sinus over here, the sphenoidal air sinus over here, and the maxillary sinus over here, and the ethmoidal sinus over here. And all these sinuses that actually you can view through the lateral section of your head and neck region. So in other, like your Caldwell radiograph, the frontal and anterior ethmoid that can be visible. And in chronic sinusitis you can see that here this thickening of the mucous membrane occurs, and the mucocili occurs over here, means a collection of some fluids, a sac like structures that you can see inside the maxillary sinus. And here you will find the opacified maxillary sinus, and here you will find the opacified frontal sinus, and here you will find the mucous membranes and the thickening over here. So friends, here we have completed about the paranasal sinuses and its clinical importance. So hope you got some idea about the paranasal sinus. So thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for the new videos. Thank you.